Kono mi wafa JB me mana Joe and then Ray. Over.
Yes sir.
Mwajo.
Mejo so na mo ho te say.
Nya media fam you now so
me hoya.
The adwini ba pa.
No say say your bon kokra. So say mo boju apa. I'm very impressed about your the enthusiasm of your callers. It means that they are participating very well in this program. My callers they be or say, hey, go for me tell one got you. What to say? Me tell when you na achia obia oti enumre.
Right. I go na no my cause saying life after elections.
Nema they say oh your political party. The first objective of a political party is to win elections. But I know winning elections there can be situations or instances of winning elections. Okay. So you must be prepared for both. And in both cases, no. So we near your processor, your film.
Okay.
So Lususwa and also your processor, your film. Almost the same process in an opposite way. You understand? Because the tradition of the new Patriotic Party, and they say, not only elections. In all the events you back I assess how the event went. Na baby why ya dia ya koswaye. Baby why ya nyini ya na ya correct. So we do this almost all the time. And the for and the major event is I also buy elections no. The total vote and I expecting in that election, even though we won, no, we felt say there were some few challenges with her. So we put together a committee to look at the entire process. You see, it never be very costly, but okay. Because these are internal issues for us. Until BBT say the major review of the 2024 elections now, and it is not for public consumption. It is more assassin radio. So every year, more review.
Of course.
More strategic question.
There
be more than they are because more competitors. Competitors, a human say, or more better more weaknesses. And more strategy for the year. No much more counter strategy. And imagine and my bar out. A brain said I'm about out. We got to a point. Now I say it should be even a norm. To be publishing the review committee's work. Obekaya Abra Asante region diano eliki and the kind of commentary na man. Imagine say that no is it Thursday? No, Wednesday, no. Mm-hmm. Now Professor Michael Kwe a report by they publish it and cause say say.
But Uncle JB, as former General Secretary, na yes, a sentimentum coabetin ho, I yom reporter na.
Reporting it, and yet, even national pen a okay. Also, constituency, Marco elections, say, also to me assessments. Now, Moya reports. As a region, also to me, now Moya reports. Not national, so as a party. In Tinkade, no podianka, and ya dear public announcement here or honenema. Dear ma, Ecoban is a bar now. Your leaky report no now. Yes, I discussing the details of it. We can't wait, you say a high weakness in here, we can't wait. I don't think it was correct at all. It was not correct. It is not done anywhere. Because at the end of the day, strength, exposed to our opponents.
Yeah.
Now, almost say who your weakness. It's in away because me catch as part of who's the Magokwe committee transi. The castle be far Najin Chamber. Me in particular, I was invited to appear before the committee.
Okay.
Because many of Kasawi, I'm saying no. Yeah, my own Kasasa corner control Bibi Fabra.
Because they now walk on the mood.
Yeah, corner man capture Bibi. So I went back and wrote this.
Book out try
I wrote this.
Election 2024.
assessing the key causes of MPP's 2024 defeat and strategic recommendations. And if you go into this book, causes no ewo.
Okay.
Now recommendations, you how to turn things around.
Okay.
Towards 2028 and beyond. And the structures I was it imagine says how they way.
Also the akoto abonten
Na akoto abonten. Because as part of when I'm presented to National Council through the General Secretary, all these papers are part of it. Kofuatro, MPs Fuatro there, Council of Elders Atro there, and a lot of other organs and individuals atro. Nanka akoda abonten. In this document, okay, Obi, Madam, we buy me the man. Where there's also the Joe book.
I'm here from Yamashim. Pages to do saying.
Oh, it's around 200 and something. No.
And the Constitution,
just about 80 pages. Just about 80 pages. So that's how it is done. Now, let me just say, because we have to have conversation with those involved. Now, between churches, say that. Even in presenting a crowd, also you're careful to make sure, say, the needed also document in also. So in Tibia, Chairman of Council, there's person who say, you can go to the General Secretary, you can have a discussion. Saying in our some parts also. You see, what is sometimes it is done in most areas, which we did the last time, is to form an implementation committee.
Okay.
You understand? For we can hear you say no form implementation committee. Nyema recommendations because some of it will be administrative, some of it will be operational issues, some of it will require constitutional amendments.
Okay.
So into formal implementation committee, then they'll be working behind the scenes, directing and advising what to do. Those that are for constitutional amendments, it is recommended to the annual delegates conference for it to be amended and all that. And see, so I work, and I think that I'll be talking to the chairman and the general secretary on it for us to have a committee like that to look at, because so share meeting a koya your formal will be constitutional review committee.
Okay. And
no, it's supposed to be a subcommittee of the conference committee.
Okay.
So we say a slaty July as month a annual delegates conference. The annual delegates conference now. Anytime we choose dates for annual delegates conference, 2 months
to the date,
3 months to the date, I will say every member of the party, you set it up July as month annual delegates conference. It is from now to the end of June. Biara uwo proposal for amendment biya say delegate system yen ni den yen all card-bearing members so and I expanding limited expansion whatever amendment I will be no draw.
Okay.
Now for former general secretary of the party who the manner e hono na omo gisa recommendation ni nyina proposals ni nyina no me the amasa review committee Now review committee putting it together in a form like this. So,
okay.
Proposal for amendment to the constitution of the new Patriotic Party, December 2021. Until when say almost compiling it say a month to the conference, they must send it back to the constituency, the regions and other external branches of the party for Bia to have a look. Because when I hear back conference, I will discuss it for approval. You understand? In the committee, Everson put to where a proposal, raw statement and confire, they will reduce it into motions. Motion put to before them, we will move it for it to be accepted or rejected. Also sa committee na ebe share at the conference awo ho ye wie sa meeting na Dear Bejatum, Oma no two, dear Yanjin to Oma no two, no Oma we are. Because since it will affect the constitution, they will come back to look at constitution if na affecting.
Okay.
Then they will do those kinds of amendments in the constitution. They are printing new constitution of the party.
Okay.
But this committee is a part of the conference. Until a conference committee will be put together. Subcommittees under that bigger committee, you know, those who be charged with feeding, transportation, accommodation, accreditation, PR, and all that. So those ones will come, and it will come very soon. I'll draw the attention to it. I'll say quickly, you know, you put it together, that committee. Maybe the next National Executive or National Council will put it together, inform them. Then that committee also start working. Then they will be working with this review committee. But that review committee have nothing to do with the entire implementation
committee
of the recommendations. So we should have another committee here.
Also,
in 2021, I was in UK. Conservative Party for your conference. They also had a review of their elections. We put it together, a committee, chairman, and periodically, you know, they invite stakeholders of the party and take them through where we are in terms of implementation of the recommendation, you know, and they invite questions and probes from the people.
Okay.
Uncle,
why a general secretary paying? Does it mean implementation committee no need ho? Anyway, your recommendation we amendments we are the implemented as a political party.
To say particularly the mayor, no.
Okay.
Say two abani we, no, and that is 2020, no.
Okay.
By 11th December, they put it together as a committee. We do a 3 months. Na party na nkasa de ebe CC thank you toy party na nkasa echo out there to thank party people, constituency, region and all that. They know by March, you know. The report that we brought out of that meeting, you know, it was almost the same as Michael Kwe report recommendations on the buy. And as part of those recommendations, there were proposals for amending our discussion.
Right, so 2020 no near our implementation committee no.
Yeah, 2020 near our implementation committee are now the implementation committee.
Okay.
Now Professor Bonzi Simpson, but we know you announced. What of our discussion? That Gabi Grau committee, no so.
Okay.
And Tibuda since you are Deputy General Secretary, was on the committee. Maybe I'll give you the list later.
Okay.
But that was the implementation committee.
So what happens to the committee? After elections, you know, a go and I say different elections.
I know for consistency, you know, they have to operate throughout.
Okay.
But what happened was that by April, no. Now I was say a broader consultation. Inti usha constitution ni munso a yen seti we no say no or say ye National Council a certain mandatory events be out.
Okay.
Because usha they won't be able to do it because over to me a national annual delegates conference 2 weeks after the last regional annual delegates conference.
Okay.
We went to a regional annual delegates conference 2 weeks after the last constituency annual delegates conference. But in the circumstance we find ourselves, you know, it can't be done. But what we did in 2021 was to do, and that was the first time we've adhered to the constitution of our party, was to do a constituency annual delegates conference throughout the country. And in that delegate conference, there are portions in that conference that that calls for recommendations and to a large extent resolutions.
Okay.
As part of that conference, you know, my friend say Greater Accra constituency in Ekwa. As part of that conference, you know, year resolutions.
Yeah.
And some of these resolutions, you know, at the regional conference, you know, all the constituency resolutions I hear, you know, will be read at the regional conference. Out of the lot kind of almost be your resolution
for national.
Into almost do national, no. Not all the regions and the resolutions are back. Some of the resolutions may find itself in the proposal for amendment.
Okay.
You understand? So we did all those things.
Say then I'm gonna say
time no favor. Time in favor because not just somebody within 3 months, no, they will not be able to do it. Yes, sure, contain some of your motivation. You understand? Not just I was say National Council a waive that aspect, but it was a way of also hearing from party people at first hand.
Okay.
You understand? So I insisted. Say resolutions that was me home. You understand? And it was done for the first time. We managed to do those things. It culminated into the National Annual Delegates Conference in December 2021. Unfortunately, you know, to me, I'm passing proposals. So conference decided, say, a committee headed by Afrenya Markin to look at the proposals again, try to weed out those ones are now controversial. Yanji Antum, now the next annual delegates conference, you know, almost as I presented for approval at the conference. Unfortunately for us, and you started January, you know, you started polling station, electoral area, constituency, region, national. The national near July 2022. Anyway, that year, no, was a election now, annual delegates conference.
Yeah.
But one item agenda. There's no way over to me I'll on our proposals. No, maybe I'm coming to an emergency annual delegates conference by end of 2022 to discuss this if they want. But unfortunately, you know, we couldn't organize any annual delegates conference from 2022, 2023, and 2024. It's in our way, Akemono.
Okay.
So, it's in our way, Akemono. Yes, sir. There was a way in a year for your da.
But some people action plan say, yeah, 2 baby, yeah, A, B, C, D. Did then a come?
Well, it depends on the priority of the officers, sir. I can imagine. It's a consistency in executives, so never change because maybe other I dream could see baby all of a sudden be boom, and you see this thing is critical.
Of course.
But Unima, obedience say, Unima obedience a conference no, and your conference there are a lot of things that are done, particularly when you have this as an outstanding document that needs approval from an annual delegates conference. So what is going to happen is that this is still pending.
Okay.
Until July,
2021 there.
2021 there, no. And at the year 2025, maybe what we can do is to acknowledge, say, when we are 2021 there. When we are 2025 there, they are the same, no. You just join it, won't duplicate, you know. You understand?
Okay.
Now you're presenting in conference in July 20. And yeah, easy work. You wouldn't well, cause obey the onda.
Until the quite before now, I want to hear about for
so bad. So never show bad.
I go JB about 1 year, ya 12 year, ya na me pese ye be kokra because you can only atone for the mistakes of the past. Untimi change past na the SC. But what transiting ya? Bibi wo ho ananka yes NPP as a political party a year prevented side defeat 2024 defeat no.
Sir,
near preventable.
You see, one thing that just as it happened in the year 2020. In the year 2020, no, there's no political party in the world. Elections are winning here.
Okay.
It is only the new Patriotic Party. because of the effect of COVID. And it is also because of the excellent management of the COVID in Ghana by our government at that time. Look at how pitiful the US looked. Pitiful those times. Donald Trump, who the kika, Chinese, then just passa. But our president devoted his time, and I can tell you, Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo. Sometimes, one can sound to me you wano, but time will tell. Time will tell, because a Jumo D and the COVID situation. Now showing the age at that time, he was even prone to it. You understand? Ne onya time almost every evening or no any chair committee, that excellent work that we did, because you should remember, say the year 2020, now your primary crying to me, primaries to me by March, your parliamentary primaries. They do baby to cry and thought. For the first time in the history of our party, primaries at the electoral area, at the near Kokikabomo. Because one I will say social distance, me gathering, me de. Now political party, primaries are.
This is what I show one.
No, not just one case I won't do umraso. So we have to design very innovative ways of managing our party. And sometimes say after all the work we did, just because you vote your parliamentary numbers as if we did not do anything. But I can tell you the kind of work I hear, Senka novices been a managing party that will have lost the elections. And for me, I didn't want to spend time.
Uncle Charles, you the Okabro for be election.
Me say, Senka enye in Sardinia, ye partner governments in 2020. You to me pair very innovative ways. But it was even difficult having rallies.
Of course.
It was difficult meeting people.
Because one band no
me say your manifesto cry. We have to improvise. Or say you're inviting Kofobi instead of say the total annual delegates conference. Now say you're middle bridging the two. It means any experience I had so much. 2020 we will have lost the elections. Just as all parties throughout the world. Elections in the year 2020, they lost. And Jamaica was running for 16 years. Her party lost the election. Conservative Republican Party lost. India Party, they lost. Almost all parties elections. But we didn't even appreciate it. We didn't appreciate it. As a young woman, born one day, a protector, young woman crying, bonnie. With all the sacrifices that we did. But I didn't bother to come and explain some of these things because it will look as if you are blowing your own horn and all that. You understand? Fast forward in 2024, throughout the world, almost about 80% of all political parties elections, they all lost. Look at what happened in UK. They lost almost 200 seats, 240 seats. Look at what happened. Even South Africa. South Africa, they were almost going into minority. They have to go and dine with the devil. Because as an apartheid party, and so to me running in a coalition government as we speak now. Look at even Namibia higher. Omunya percentage party in power. Omunya about 70-80%. I feel Omunya about 54%. Botswana, for the first time in the history, almost about 60 years, their party in power lost the elections. And that the underlying factor is cost of living.
Okay.
throughout the country. Be a whole trainer. Nanka between Donald Trump and Kamala when they also win elections. No? The conditions, standard of living, cost of living was high. And it is not different from us. Because the effects of COVID, passing through up to 2024. You understand? See, a major cause of the loss. Maybe what we did not do so well was to be able to explain. Nchiremu ebia anko sibia wose ekono. You understand? Nchiremu so no any the danger of losing the elections and getting the NDC just as we've seen for the past 3 months.
Uncle, Wadarma, fetch you. A chief one or dolphin is a catchy no cacamo.
You, let me tell you, say, Demi Hune say, Ebian Chremono, and Cosibia
communication and copapa.
It's an Abia Mihuno. Because a guy to me church, Muye, Mobiate, no one say. Yes, for 9 Niamamu Ayading. Yes, Buapayo and Tina Hano Niama Air Conessa. So never channel. Near to be church room, near to be train so the danger involved as a young to Obama MPPA, a Bayer NDC. NDC for Subai Sono. I was thank you to be more almost the air we. Omobeyi in Kofwedi, in Yamabu bed, and say cement. A move from 100 to best 140, 145. But yeah, don't mama no say then. Or say cement or my flat rate, a baby is a 30 Ghana. Oh, but platform so my for my Juma Munina me ba. Memo Bobia Kahona Bidibina Beckham creative 24-hour economy then the down. But we were not able to point out my ordinary party persona. Ebia for one reason or the other. Nakuma Anthony Yem one maybe. To say Ebia ni bepe police ni bepe way. Police do dry a fire crano. Even though say yen fire police is saying all other government in the Fourth Republic.
But Uncle near communications director. Your communication team.
Opening as it's not just about communication team. You know, as a party, because if you look at the constitution of the party, say one of the primary duty of every member is to promote the image
of the party.
Okay. And the communication for it, biara, including all of us. You understand? And you know, I was saying to me, yes, sir. Because say you buy a crown here for police 50,000. The party members are to about 6.5 million. MPP Nkwao. Until Oka said, untwinya even 1% of the people that talk about now say over support to them. Course, even though in the course of selection, we had some untoward behavior of our own party members. Those kinds of things were happening. But second church, and there are a few structural problems and so and also you face here. Inti the man basa. Inti we shall lost now. Yes. Yes, be able lose, but any senka economy because you can see clearly. Say there's total breakdown of security, particularly our internal security. So then,
internal security.
Yeah. So you realize, then NDC may have one certain seat and it's come winning.
But some of the
Katashi, typical example, Okankwe Central. Who's a San George? You any DNA no DH bar? Omujira yisi ne konso.
So declare
110 out of 140 seats. Where ya crowd? It's in a whole video, no. What about Tatali? What about Pandai?
Now MPP.
What about Willency? What about you understand? It's clearly you can see
now internal
train. So you can see clearly say it is possible. And you can see too also that those seasoned and matured politicians were able to stand on their feet. It was they may have left because Senka Martin and Janet Naswa. Because Lusu the same at James Akosa. These are seasoned. So those things that we saw are those seasoned politicians. It should tell you, say, there's a need for you to be able to protect your seasoned politicians.
Okay.
You understand?
Right.
There's a need to do so. Because yes, Yelusu Ukankwe Central, Yelusu Adwajiri, Yelusu Martin Ho, Ekwefiye Ho there. Even with Ekwefiye, it is unconscionable. Say you are talking about December 7th. Now constituency a higher polling stations and do 100.
Then
ECC me person me declare. Now NDC 4 edit tax. Preventing EC from declaring. Then the entire security of this nation is incapable of protecting the EC to declare an election. This is a danger. This is a warning sign to this country. This is a warning sign to this country. So saying some civil society organization are they all dead? What is going to happen the next time is that say to a bar, you provide enough security by the party itself. But how can it be 3-4 months after elections, one constituency, the whole security? See, you to mean protecting electoral commission. Emma seat, you know, you to mean declare. In my honest view, didn't they call parliament? Or wasn't your boy continuing?
MPs, you know.
For them, say a twaba, you are telling me, say, president or your friend is saying, commander in chief of the armed forces, your IGP, your way. Now one constituency, we cannot protect the EC. So how are they going to protect the EC in the 276 constituencies in 2028?
Yeah.
If this is the character of the president, if this is the character of the IGP, if this is the character of CSOs, say just because it is not in favor of the NDC. Because obviously, if you win elections, no.
So you wish to say MPs in boycott?
Boycott. Parliament. Because what it means is that 2028, you know, if this is the character of the NDC, 276, you know, say the police, the army, and all the other security agencies decide this say no more. How are we going to declare the election in 2026?
But Uncle JB, yeah, two about December 6, 2024, December 7, 2024. Sorry. So now MPP are buying the tea kunyaso. Mampayin and Ado Aduma by 7th January. And now MPP are buying to me and share some kobo buying near Nicholas Asitinana.
Oh, say almost ye biara. Oh, say na yentumen kind way and all that. And what they say security, security, sabi. Hey, see no more. Best other officers no other way no. You understand? And I believe say, who say elections is answer in the midst of the elections. Security break it down, but it cannot be say 3-4 months after Yato Abano. The whole nation cannot protect electoral commission to declare one constituency. That is a danger.
Ebimu issue is Dr. Laji Mahmoud Bawumia accepted defeat in Tem in Tiema Bambuo Baye and NDC for taking advantage. Say we accepted defeat dia collection centers and baby and can we no yenko hard yenko capture a bit my case.
try yes or no. Yes, because a basano ema 107.3. A basano ema the police na kwa bemubuye. NDC for ni nyaho de foforo se mu kra ma lusu. Na ema MPP for no so ebotoye. Nti baby ayen kan parliamentary din wie no. Tension no, because the police cannot act. But why are careful so you be with and all that. But oh yeah, with a drink, you understand? He was thinking about the total peace of the nation. Say about na 72 hours. Na yen declare the kind of tension a banning yamano. Onya ye share ya ehun se no baby a aircon no nya de a ebeko yie no na o se uje mu ntem but we as a lesson to us say until say ye be kan ni nyina awie no because omo ani omo deal no omo nye law abiding citizens of our country o
omo nye mrani
no NDC nye mrani. If you don't have the psyche of the NDC you can't deal with them. I'm gonna inform home. Oh, NDC. Say for home. They'll go at all length and misbehave. If you are dealing with such organization, you don't compromise. So, it's idea call a gesture to ensure peace, and no more than a bonnet because the ordinary dealing and ya obia or ya law abiding. It is a Siano. It is Siano. There's no way I bet to a baby way. Nayan kind in way. Electoral Commission and who say the results are when yano. The outcome ya the become cry into son the outcome of the elections are. There's no way any party, particularly New Patriotic Party, is going to concede because that gesture was not respected by our opponent. Because I was there when Vice President Baumia Efre, President John Mahama. I was there. No kind of from the IAN in my or concede. And can such a gesture no.
But John Mahama accepted defeat Efre 2020.
See, Besina crowd on Jintum so Lucia. Besina on ye.
Right.
So you should know the people you are dealing with.
I go Jebby me bass here.
Any grow, opening any grow.
I feel what I care who are a part 107.3. Atumpan Juma the day some more social media handles in ye Juma Facebook Live a part 107.3. Any uncle John Boadu JB and a Dean Commanding Cassie.
Yeah, no, the psyche of the NDC.
Yeah.
We did it say. I started to plan it. That's such a yes, because look, meaning the psyche of the NDC. Yeah,
you made this Uncle Bono. Uncle JB, who touch on Adiebi here ye pa internal security, which is very important because a point in time who said Mabunu my main can say for Manusi I say memani MPP party num obi able to obi atiakoda but maybe a tramu na ye wo Mabunu our party no more bought MPP as a political party who buying before you say Jack omunyina beba abe protect party no efa going forward and then there's a party here.
Said the strategy was different. Osha the strategy in 2024 was to allow the PCs to raise security to support them. Unfortunately, no, PC Ejumani are different. Unya time na why sir.
Okay.
So previously we had our own security structure. You empower Omo to protect. Into that PC
constituency bia.
Yeah, constituency bia. Until now PC no ejuma. So because of the Sika Koma PC, so no na raise security.
We need time go. You know about
to. Meanwhile security na FSO. Mr. Security say we are own security for so whatever. It's a strategy no na. Work papa. When I believe say from the recommendations I hear no we are going to take it a bit more serious than that.
Uncle JB,
we should not also say vigilantism law near the buy. No, 2020. 2024, it does not prevent you, because as far back as the year 2000, as part of our structures, our D-Day plan in 2000, we got the constituency to provide for each polling station 5 support group.
Okay,
this is 2000. Each polling station, polling agent nipa inum in some cases 10, in some cases 20,
depending on
the challenges. Then we had other ones are no more around to support. I think these are things that quickly
I go thing, but mami misa as a coach, our coach team to say be a kotoko paying because why general secretary MPP paying na ukotena fie na wo hwe coach foforo waba the performance ya net will say because per the wokan that means a normal bebre wo ho a leadership na ntime put in place.
Oh, you saw yes happen na say coach na obi aba coach team na o tinche na o makono
but who say player we ball be she ye the way see here be ye
they go see ya na esi no they hear how to put our pieces together as quickly as we can. We've done the review. Recommendations, no.
Right. I want to come back say MPP believes in 3 things. On be reflecting. Na on make sure say on be focus on recapture power. Say there is a party no echo after say committee report on about.
After committee report, he said the party they decided say by July, annual delegates conference. Depending on the outcome of the conference, will determine the kind of constitution we will have.
Okay.
In your constitution now process of internal elections, so reorganization, now it's a polling station per the recommendation of the constitution. It's a polling station ever start here. You start a electoral area, constituency, region, national. Now we are presidential.
Rebuilding the party, because MPP believes in or reflective we are rebuilding or recapture to me. Rebuilding NPP as a political party because normal start here be a time indiscipline koso our party num as now ye BBM ye kra so we are sorry asuma senior deneba we are sorry asuma senior deneba kwan be na say leadership was see ye into abafoforo no or control party no for rebuilding.
You see, discipline major ingredient in a successful organization.
Okay.
What was 7.3?
Ebuo ene nyema wo se ye ne papa anywhere. No matter what you do enkoye we kaya those times Israelites no mo akon mo kokon omo yes omo ko nyankopon hwe omo han ke kana on se na we dudu nra nti yo ka say look mpese me sone so no yes omo nko ba bi enko num nsuo out of the padudo no omo ko e na you 300 per
every month
out of over 1,000. So these are the people between your makwakono and lo and behold that 300 recordinko. So go giant and 1,000 no. Numbers nyina na positive o. Ene ni padu draw ni pa yes ni padu draw na hia pa. Me ni padu draw no be negative. The super Ukrano. But they say Niama. And you say Nipa do no he baako ana mienu no a obetumi dia say 20 no. We say Nipa mienu no few a ebeka 18. It is important. You see, and easy, but over national officer and say oh my pe wasemo. So be now see a power sem person a power sem dia untumi nye ebe ma decisions bebre why also take you know untumi take it you understand nti also ma hu ye hu kakra na unsheda nin down for bebre
okay
na wetumi aye waduma because ye kan say unnin down for bebre unsuso niam bi so na no yesi o wonye na eventually who win power na enye say uni obi asere obi a power sem na ebe lose power no obi a power sem ti who to take decisions you cannot be firm who take decision cry you are picking and choosing because now for home
and the before so be party for no more
and no the before be party for no more eventually no party nsa ebisi form so na me nti enye beauty contest na ye where I say FM and just recently National Executive National Council no you taking decisions say obiara we officer of the party no e won say our preference mom dear be me nko out there
you stay back
enko ka say me there weni nti no me pe we weni nti me pe we because the other can fa obi ho no opponent no so benja sa bi pepe akafa they also support no
of course
now at the end of the day your voices of one group your voices of the other so voices in your negative voices then this will put together and play back to us now me say I know sometimes me say then NDC has a responsibility of criticizing us so and we MPP near enye wadwuma ne say over criticize our party and then waban
opponent
where do you want to do the job of the opponent me let na hey me wo be say 1 hour why will I want to spend some of my time
now
criticizing my party and my government why will I want to do that ina me opponent ni mo wo it is a party near that's why I'm insisting that our party school should be functional. No be your basic principles of being a political party supporter, admirer, or an activist. Your party right or wrong, your party is right. Some problems, so when if you problems in you can have an avenue to come and discuss your problems at home. It's your party for na nkaye ko 2024 na if not because of our personal weighty and you to me keep you focus on the NDC nyema make us say say you to a message you provide the Ghanaian voter the dangers of not voting for the new Patriotic Party in the can year now you are spending your energy criticizing our own governments. Gradually say you win elections.
But until you treat MPP for the world.
What do you mean by treaty?
Yeah, supporters, no. Because we general elections about year. Do one MPP for the MPP lose you. Do one anchor out.
Because when the chroma catcher say general conditions of life was high and harsh, not only in Ghana.
Okay.
You understand? And as a result of that, you know, there were certain decisions that was say abide taking.
Hard decisions.
For instance, DDEPR implemented a can nipa over 800. So nipa over 800. So be our dependent mienu miensa. And only 2 point something million no. Nipa anko to about 2 million plus. Because nipa no ebe oko pension. Nizika kaka abuan over the years or the akoto bond. Now if you see haircut, you see there. Now one be chirebu ye. You see, it is not just about adiano enyo. Because enya kranka onye.
Okay.
There are merits in their way, no.
It's
your saying ka unya daje. This is your friend is saying former Chief Justice also copycat in any way. Do you know the effect of that? And your party for do draw no net bonds. Nipa ahe net bonds. And what class of people net bonds? Yeah, party for the net 800 are making. Me did say yeah, come for best 700.
To don't make us say yeah, party aba near home chili and say.
Yeah, party aba. Maybe we could have done better because for a former chief justice to do that, you know, it should take either the finance minister or the president to go and address them. That's all he needs in here. A BDDPH. For her to have gone to that extent, you know, it should have taken a higher authority to have gone to address them. At Choma the frontier, sad decision, you know, and also a buying takey. So one take here, what will be the consequences? These are learned people, Bijidi say, Senkan Chimunuko year, and Ka Abia Beboa.
Yeah.
There were issues about NAPCO. For at some point, you know, they decided they say, Yenye no, Omaketuano, Ekemu. That's close to, who's I starting here, say 100,000.
Yeah.
Later, time I take decisions here, not come as 60-something thousand. 60-something thousand, Yakito, and I was in a cut 3 months for one. Sikana, yeah, 700,000. It's 700 Ghana. Graduate. Onye Jumentin or Yenapko, no. Bebre, mom, no cranny, Uko GR, did there, my bebre, yeah, do almost share, baby, bebre. Our munye, you want to take cry. The 60,000 car and went to Amoko. Into I don't know, on so got to Abama.
Before Shedmo.
You understand? Inquire call forestry. I know I get you, I said, by Papa Bia, school feeding, Tracy. And these are our own people. You understand? So, these are things, Inka, ya trase, ya dajiche muye. Because these are our own people. Okay. No doubt, say, Oshe vote in 2024. What they compare 2020? Now there was a shortage, a difference of close to 2 million. NDC for the day under these conditions, vote between 2020 and 2024. Everybody say 110,000. Not just MPP for saying get to me cheche my call for no about out. Can we win elections? No. What it should tell you is that the new Patriotic Party is still the larger political party in this country. The new Patriotic Party. Even in the midst of all these challenges, no. So what we have to do now is to acknowledge these things, accept some of these mistakes. If we have to apologize for some of those mistakes, and let them know. Say, man to amaya. Neka se be ma ebufuo na kayemu a de ebe hu no yenye hu yo. And no constitutional bodies na ye wo no ni nyina is politicized now.
Yeah.
Because if omemu ha akuko samu time to na Nkrumah chief justice so.
Yababa national issues. Quickly, 2 questions then call national issues. I'm on for call say point. I'm on for call say delegate system no yemi kakras former general secretary one year dream what contest paying only say delegate system no ye biemu a ebetimi aboa ebi say all card bearing members of the party ye mo akwanya na omuntu aba your take on it.
No craning ka say voting e die nka ohama wa vote wo baby enti senka your system a integrity a full proof yankoto abanwie mo bi be emmeka se oye MPP ni so ya mana anto bi ana say ye mo bi da tu ya onye MPP and on the course so NDC for no. If we can say that, say we've developed our membership card system, emanenya integrity, our bia beja tuma, nobody has a problem. You must also take into consideration the cost.
Okay.
Of organize, I say, I have done electoral commission. Oh yeah, electoral commission, Juma, and whether you will be able to do it. So you look at capacity of the party to be able to organize such elections.
Okay.
And Mama, we are not the only party operating in the world. There are lots of other political parties. Is that how it is done everywhere? Can we have an example of a country? All card-bearing members at Tuabana, a few of them call UK in some instances, no. But once Rabaya, this is Rabaya or more lead. Would you say Kotuaba 2028? No, see, there are combination of these. 7.3. The mean in the discussion, say, you can't boom as if say. All the delegate elections are here, you know, there's a problem, and you're not correct. See, I got to about you constituency officers. Obi be complaining, so Obi man afraid.
Debbie.
And Obi man motorbike.
Debbie.
When who say I got to constituency elections, man call for complaining. Because I know the Yenjiaka. It's you, I didn't contest, no, Yenjiaka, no. I feel now come up with saying how they have a teacher delegates. It's a honor problem. Said that you call regional elections are also be ebe kase you call regional elections no be akoma obi ka obi akoma we enu ntino obi tin chance someone amakoto abayi regional officers ni dia omukwanko ejuma o bi da o
ba dey be group pieces no
so butre se call national elections a na yenyina be boa ye ho ano eto abana obi tumi gira chance obi na akogis kanti se sadia yokoto aba munkwankoto even at the presidential primaries see you super delegates if you are super delegates in already per 800 so people are able to pay some substantial amounts and the super delegate yeah no few and from history you know super delegates are you know the odi first or no one 2 million odi into it has outlived its usefulness the yeah say they at so over 5 no and when ya raise friend say filing fees no now I show now to me ya no jai now omo ade capable no akọ me nto aba no ye to presidential no they anto super delegate na hey obi etumi ama bia na 100 Ghana 200 Ghana I don't know be who fu say we are delegate o akoje 200 Ghana ntimi bu afu
Dabi
2014 you to presidential na do sika de by 5 Ghana o and Alan ma 10 Ghana cedis but about region ho na region 4 almost support to ebi ananado 5 Ghana dey so no mo akika o nsa go no why ni 20 Ghana no wa kwache Alan go for so 20 Ghana cedis it no na be influence even the nanu cry here cry ebi to 200 ebi to 300 Ghana cedis no be influence obi be a problem ne war Emiliano, don't let us because you lose election, you know. Yeah, changes are. Ebe biting.
Prepare who changes we are.
You understand? Yes, sir.
107.3.
Parliamentary honor because a honor any break akra a womb. So be quiet parliamentarian. The land cruiser now kodemu. Any we aketua wo need to know. Emma eniba ho. Particularly in our same seats, no. Obi say, oh, or Bantama no winning parliamentary the pa. Yet be or no ebe parliamentarian into Obeko parliament. Into Obi so ne contest here. Ono so kunu ho ya sure say Obi to me abomode amabibi. And this not only happening in the MPP. And this one to about of water region parliamentary elections are go for to 8,000, go for to 10,000. We are behaving as if say a new Patriotic Party pedai. For me, I think say maybe a bit to be able in order to water down the effect of monetization of our system, no, parliamentary primaries. No?
Okay.
So, say to me, one man, one vote. Increase polling station got 20, 15. That's just over 1,000, over 100 polling stations. Nanka ukikabo manke bebe say 600, you know. Ebe ko be say 3,000.
Nani tuya
ayeden that apart from kakra.
Right.
See, no na problem. Don't let us behave as if say because you lose elections. They ye nyina ye sa ya sa be bite ye ho.
Okay.
Uso wo hoi. Sometimes you know ono atumi mne ni dua o. Otumi
so pre
obeje say we nyanam. Odumi mne dua na ma ni choke no. So na me che nti me yenye sa na ye ndane owa ye be mne ya ye dua na abe choke ye.
Akwa ebia na umfa krom ye de fa krom pa street boys. Among for call say be national chairman for the NPP. Menim say what be ya and what be ya it will say.
No cra be shown bad ka
107.3
ka dia ka.
Almost brafie na be ye fie djuma.
Majima home bet. There ye un say ye nyina no nkofo so di.
107.3
Nkofo un say me din pa ne kwae. Kwame kwae.
Okay.
Boadu. John Kwame kwae Boadu.
Okay.
Un say kwae wo ho yi no. E wo ho a odwin say ni nyina abomo. Bodu ho a un say dua bia.
Yes, yankram.
Sa na party dete. Obi wo ho no ma. O party nim because of Obi. Na o hwe ha niam si ko ye a. Na o hwe niam anka e betumi aye. Ne direction I betumi ama party no. Na de ma ye party no investment aye wo mi mu no enormous. Nti yes said there what no sa na matete nkofo bi frame bi send me message obi okra so campaign team we person beka ho that say me nko president we internal election city beka me see enya abotre ya mama kokwe committee no report mbra aba sisi ano proposal for amendment we na me chiro no the areas they are making bebre so they are made the areas are be teasy out na personally mature they are call for amendment.
Okay.
See we the annual delegates conference need to me what our constitution is and because every to our conference oh me and to abakra yin national chairman bio na me ti ha say me person me call national chairman and me and to abakra yin to aban presidential candidate be na ono run party no the opera no afano be the chairman be the organizer in some countries here but in our country how there
oh yes sir jabeto
jabeto mo ejantomo but your man go for discretion they abuse it.
Okay.
Share your consensus near regions here nationally. We say two about substantive officers now because abatuo into me emawunya the total cohesion any representation or constituency in mo to say tribe we be wom penny wom ma wom ebi a communication obi abatuo no to me yisa dey say omo deputies no party no trance no hwe say ye to abawie sa area ye nya obi a ho na ye nko yi deputy mfi ho sa ye ma no so ndi empe ma mi ensa be ka ho sa discretion na de mai ibe wi ase no we ne o ka we group ho ni afa no di o ya de pa nke wo se ye de ne ba mu no ye mfa no iti Ghana hana so me yi me elect national officers and our regional officers and our constituency officers na ye presidential candidate no be yi the chairman obeko Akufo-Addo or want boy because Akufo-Addo or person control no we do sa level no you do sa level no cry you do sa level no as we practice this democracy for very long you be do because that's what is done normally say to say leader by work conservative when you the chairman of the party.
But for Ghana, the Ndruho.
Ndruho. Who called Democratic Party or USA? Who is almost to about November. February, your election, your national officers. And there a delegate system still.
Okay.
Every state, almost elected 2 members. They represent you almost. Former president, former mayor, so Democrat for
So will you call for early Congress?
There's nothing like early Congress. What do you mean by early Congress? What do you mean by early Congress? Yeah, you can't some na. Nya ope o. Me party pay you for pa. We expect to say constitution wa kan pa. So say nya early Congress. Early Congress.
But when the constitution is so.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether I go school or go school. And some of them grab it by a lawyer. No, yes, argument. You understand? Okay, early Congress as a balancer, it is in relation to presidential primaries.
Yeah.
Most often. The constitution is say not later than 24 months to the next general election. Say we oppositioner or say ye a presidential candidate. It is a ochina you can say a presidential elections that any early.
Okay.
Say any next year June any early. Yeah, next year September any early. The constitution can say by 7th December 2026 no I'll see a ye a presidential candidate.
Okay.
Asa.
The timeline no.
Timeline no. So not later than 24 months to the next general elections. Until from this time, yeah, copying 7th December 2026, we are mandated to elect our presidential candidate. But the constitution goes further to say, National Council, say, obe validate, Baby, your validate, and say, edu 7 December, yen to me, your presidential candidate, na National Council akase yenko 2027
okay
January and now February. So the varying of the date National Council no and now when it goes outside the not later than 7 December and the National Council. There's nothing like early Congress. There's nothing like that.
Okay. Uncle Joby, we ma memeba menim so obenya bite on it say unko so a ne ahwe 1 or 2 national issues near sorry till we remember here.
So that could not be the case. So I decided to do some data analysis to test this hypothesis. And when you look at the data is very clear. In many constituencies across the country, the MPP presidential candidate performed better than the Christian parliamentary candidate in many constituencies across. So it couldn't be if they were voting because of religion, I shouldn't be performing better than the Christian parliamentary candidates. Even my good friend, Akufo-Addo, who is giving a lot of heat to the government at the moment in Thailand. Akufo-Addo is a reverend father in Akufo-Addo, as in South. But I did better than him in his constituency. So he did so well. I mean, he did and mobilized the votes for me, and I thank him very much. But if you look at
Ago.
Yes.
Ago.
Yes.
Chawai.
Me too.
Oh yeah, JB Baba. Oh yeah, JB Baba. Yeah, and a question we don't know.
No, any question. You see,
your comment.
Say you're told about you know, there are various reasons and call for Emma.
Right.
A bit Felice. And honestly, de Dr. Baumia Ebano. You move be no na ye jitumpa say northern votes no. More. And we are not saying it out of vacuum, because nothing vote, you know. We should 50 times starting feature a daughter Baumiana. Yeah, chances are improved to the extent say in 2020, you know, 18 seats in one northern region, you know. You have 9, NDC you have 9. In terms of vote, you know, you have presidential vote, you have more as in NDC. For Northeast there, you have be saying Omokra, you have 4, you have 2. In Northeast, 4 constituencies, NDC you have 2. Savannah, you have 3, NDC you have 4, which was the first time. That's the upper east and upper west. And for us now to present a Northerner as a party, you know, with the performance we expect to say your votes, you know, from there, no, okay. In the Ankosro, no, so being super contest. And so I can say, now we're going to go for amount. Now you understand? And you know political way because of our contest and all that. And for the first time, 2 major parties are presenting Muslim, not just a not now, a Muslim. MPP, NDC. NDC presenting Muslim there as their presidential candidate. Even as running mate, one spare no koyi mumuni. They Christian, 2 Christian tickets all the time, the NDC. For the first time, you're presenting Muslim. Until now, you expect to say the Muslim community also you bring more. Until others almost feel say, I was saying Muslim and our Zongo communities in more, and our North also in more. And until Biana, your presidential candidate, you know, so why analysis? Who said no? We share out of 2 million now. Anko to Abana. 84% of the 2 million, no, a central region, western region, eastern region, Greater Accra, Ashanti region, and Bonohene regions. No. In fact, the 5 northern regions, no, the Padodra and Tuaba less as compared to 2020. No. Less than 100,000.
Okay.
Who compare even Western region, 120,000 or so. Nipa dodo antwa by Western region. And those who say the 5 northern region. Also the argument based on empirical facts.
Yeah.
I know that you can't debate it. Maybe you can go further to critique, say. So until we know, frankly, a personal way because government so attacking it personally say if I went to alpha vote number. Don't know yet argument and they say Sade cannot be the main reason TIA to win it. There are other things. And we've seen info analytic and other research work. People should be reading a lot of those things. Now, to me, because who say when to me I analysis ne papa.
Obekantra.
Yes, tra obekano no. So analysis and bring out challenges. No? Bring out challenges now also your solutions. Into one analysis ni ya the wrong challenges baba. Into solutions out there. No? I say uyemu ya now the plaster attire uyefu. And now you to now the plaster attire woman so. Oh, and solve problem. Yeah. So it is important say every particularly decision makers no will delve into the numerous reporter Michael Quay report, Colonel Abner Fokra your report, your parliamentarians put 2 together, led by Dr. Mafu. The research work is there so that we can be speaking to the real causes and the real reasons why we lost. And no, and only and no, the way to our Mayenya solutions are a solve a problem. Okay. Yes, sir. You can say, oh, maybe I will do anyone to say into young course this direction. And answer. So it's important we look at it properly. Mami
national issues kakra. Ayi dia binuma koso NDC take over. Recently Minta Kando, Health Minister say Chief Executive Officer of Tamale Teaching Hospital, Dr. Adam Etiku, on for the Jumanto for Media Samoa, was here Kadi hospital no Bibri and Yejma. Then you heard that of the Chief Justice, Article 71 office holder, Yapampam Niparisa.
I think say Tamale Day, me say it was staged. Nipa no person we yini dada.
Your plan is a better.
Because Sasema Banas we yini pedia. Nipa na we yini based on their misconduct. Iti panel bend the tenase. And almost share say Nipa no. Meanwhile, Nipa no or public servants. Your rules are guiding appointments. Your rules are guiding disappointments. Which of the rules they use here? So now minister can walk into a place. Na junior say unya wajuma here obey you. Is that what the law? And no say as an individual, wait to a court.
Because you have a due process.
You have a due process then
Okay.
Now you ni panon so nya say na assistant and say manager bi wo hon act you. Yakufo before within 24 hours.
NDC PC Karaga.
You understand? Not just a PC no. Waba so pejuma ye onya waba oba Jubilee has your money room oba ha ohun hwe. Yes no odi nya betre. Se okra we doctor. Se okra we to nya betre. Me call akohwe. Because me na I be our modern. You see sometimes nipa no modern born to be bro so cry until they be no.
No why
he ebi o block loopholes ne niema o ha all solve. You understand? It's way there me jitum pa say I think say papa no lawyer papa bia also take it on. Now say you buy AI SIC o mko yi na on ti ase. No yes o dey court o ba ko pa de cho. Sika o metu amano grow over 20 million. And o metu amano. It's a holiday I think say he should fight for his right.
That was the Chief Justice.
Yeah, Chief Justice and I'm surprised that Ghana Bar Association IAD na who's four arms of government. Yeah, more fourth in the media no. Yeah, who somewhere, but most of them will do all the other three arms of government in check.
Yeah.
Into your judiciary, your legislature, your executive. Now, judiciary constitutional insist on their independence because almost now say two arms no crown tia anywhere or some bem now on to treat him. So executive here bibi na out of unconstitutional. They can declare acts and actions of executive null and void. Even parliament, pass law, bina and the constitution, boy, bra. So you need people of steel, you need people of honor, integrity. Na almost to me, which almost Supreme Court. Many of them were appointed for time. There is some active crowd for time, and they are appointed. Some of them John Mahama time. Some of them Akufo-Addo and all that. At a Mills time and all that. Inti baby edu no senka waye bibi obi anihwa obeka so wadi bone a yentra ho but we no ye election nyina no ase edu nketia ni omumpanyimfo eze ye ba ye be yi chief justice ye ba ye be yi electoral commissioner ye ba ye be yi auditor general who say director general of audit agency ono akasa kra resign
because on so
Dr. Osai such a fine brain. Such a fine brain. Yeah, so Public Service Commission. Minti omunka o. Omune appoint you bia. Oh, I say, yama green paper, blane beji white paper. Ubeji white paper na aban ba ye to me you. Ye go for, monte say you go for Public Service Commission. Na Public Service Commission mo so fa so ide den. Just say you money to no mo dey ma e Public Service Commission. Yen you omo to no ma e di
107.3.
na nko for omo aba interviews omo enye Director General ne who assistant kwa na eyu omu tumi yi wo chema nyina fi adwuma mu omu yi Director of Finance Human Resource omu yi omo. Can you believe say omu yi nkofo ya uko MP ya omu fa nipa over 100 within just 3 months ya
abra yi bisu edi
abra yi nkofo edi. You say it frankly Usha constitution ma I think that a dangerous path and here chatty na usi constitution they say obituary petition ba petition no cry nipa no tro no cry yes ye di asam cry ndi in camera let us say yeah through parliament you appointed chief justice oba parliament no mo jitu mu no what it means is that elected chief justice no na so obi di ade kan fa ne ho a usi ma hu
nyante de course
nti obi a cho bibi keke no de kwa usi council of state na who council of state go di wasem na tefre na yese akukọ ngodi wasem a wo hwa obenya we
enya so no be so amene
tefre pa na yese akukọ ngodi wasem ukoti committee na de do ajawo ekoto so Sofa Akufu with all difference and reverence to her no? From the Nema here today yeah the umpire some Gabi Kokan bibi kito atemo didi no
Atumpan
enti ugo fa no say ono na anko more advisor that is what they offer friend is saying mama your friend is saying
Lordina
I'm so offer Lordina any mama bano any ne baba no some more advice so that's exactly what it means. Thank you for the selecting on council of state no. These are appointees of government. President na appointee omo. Council of state you won go for omo akọ elections you to abamo omo. Ade ne yen omo bi.
Na de mampanyin
ndam fufu a oni omo ebokosi atafre no. Omo na ebe ma recommendation. Abra here the policy of the NDC to remove the Chief Justice, to remove the Auditor General, to remove the EC and its entire commissioners. Now, so what is our recommendation in Brewa? Was suspending. After now, Constitution is a Sanity Committee. What's a committee here? What's our confer PNC, former General Secretary? Pwamai
Atumpan
wo President Mahama wo appointing abra wo unim say obi actual petition e dey abre President Mahama about Pwamai so why we tie you know e ma John Mahama per the constitution I refer petition no ama Chief Justice no after now also determine the prima facie case whether your all no or the whole recommendation beka dia ono ye de ne ho asem aba ye nyan kan ne ho asem ne wie ye no e Chief Justice no ono na afei on be chair committee
na improve
Chief Justice no mo on be chair na say na we a ba ko aka ho justice back on account. Who's a honorable asefua ede we call you no. No can 5 panel 5 no. Odun kwa wan bo so yare.
Atumpan
say the amoya no process no wrong. It is Supreme Court won't determine answer move to our process na. Oka ho na wo say o mutena se no. Odun kwa so yare. All of a sudden, what ono na afi Mahama. Is there not going to be conflict of interest? But that case is still pending. Now the ono yare a omra no be determine we no. Why no kokwasa. And I'm in the position that ana. When in the position that ana. Nti ono no akofa no say per the dictates of the constitution no yenya 2 justices from the Supreme Court ba kon chair poama na asem wo ne ho no ni petition
Chief Justice
no ono na akofa na obi a me petition wo ho anka obedi masem na no ye de wo petition abre me a wasem no medi ni sen
me pamukra kontem.
The other issue is that who's Justice Avubon in the act. This uncle for me and we no almost say with the outcome clear almost by Pamono.
Okay.
There's no very state. And say no go for the level abetoso. The level is NDC. John Mahama appointed after we lose elections in 2016. Around December, baby, they are appointed. You buy a money to confirm saying they leave no accumulated bro so. And say, man, Akufo. Nani anje ho, or the Asano court. Chief Justice ya na dream no, o delay asem no. Na yakofa no so akoto committee na so. It is any pa me ensan kwa. Say dey so be you na aka no put there ba me form to nche na sa ni pa me ensan kwa o committee of 5 na me ensan nyina ye poama PNC general secretary PNC wo hoi your NDC for PNC your MPP PNC ti mi nim do
Okay
nim no pa nim pa
okay
ina ono so no asem won ho ina nka Chief Justice ibedi na say this ono na ebedi Chief Justice na say obedi ni san ba ku nko so oka ho asedi so oka ho yi kokwasa asem ba yi wa doje a ono na edi na be ka ho dem level de enjame na me ka bebi owo
Ghana fu
enti so we say ya na clearly yi na opese uyi mami no memu ha impra he na ye maba etuni akọ school abaye lawyers akomwa rise to the level of Chief Justice oye de Cuba so in some be amete say no only reasons natural response from Chief Justice now obi so tu kwaya per diem on the signatory to account nti ye de man ho audit queries there ever all the time
yeah
miti we na mo sigai so fe na auditors external auditors wa because audit query betumi aba so management no betumi I respond or ma respond so mo to respond na mo de brand me
no I respond to do nim no
nti eno the audit queries there enya hwe o de mo be ye o man ti ase no no ma pass your comment management ebe cheche na o hwe nchirechire mo ochira we ya dia ye de kosa we na ye wa John Mahama one ne ma antra presidential play one enju kwan
ano so mo de auditor
ye ni pede mo jiji ye
107.5
ye ni pede mo jiji ye ana no so eka the conditions of service so I want to believe you see say there was this man Dr. Akwete.
Yeah.
Or CDD or so. Your power, MPP or power. Oh, BB, I know a friend me. Say. Oh no, and so local government or yeah, dear party. The whole interest no one in Yama. Yama kwa. Nancy and my friend say, hey, Papa. Oh, we are seeing also South Africa. I'm so about South Africa. Did you echo sweet?
Until ye.
Na yenti manoka say. Me many problem o. Say yen ya ti asese. Sisi aye ni constitutional bodies. Yisi ene the commissioners no. Aba obebe bia no. On appointed heads ene the commissioners. O kwa. Now do adeko. We are all fine. Why you for ojuo mu sisi a? Aban we na air foul. It is aban no air kwa. Ma mo obi ambe pamo. whether you're a messenger, where na yenhwese oman ebekọ ne sen. Yenhwese oman ebekọ ne sen. Because I can't understand why we should degenerate as we move on in our democracy to the level we are degenerating. And na yehwe na eyo bi afa. Fair enough. Me mpa be adwuma bi aye. Nti ma bra bo nyina. Nye na sensi ga 1 year. Kwa mi salary go muntu ama me. 12 months am go do your mi salary. Nya dem dey ama me.
Ah, yentwe okada.
Omo bu omo na eguso.
Adan.
Say me quiet na sika no. One of the
2023 now.
2023 December.
Yeah.
To 2024 December me feel January. Sika na one of the most important organization. Say ehwe ni ye pa a resource omu ye a ebeboa aso nyema bebre ano ama ye SOEs etumi aye adwuma nya sika pa because so share assets a ewo omo ho a close to 400 billion Ghana cedis worth of assets.
Wow.
Ministries in makra mbakra mben ho kra. So almost sweaty these assets. Now we have 10% profit of the assets in Ukraine. And almost about 50 to 50 billion. Now revenue you understand? It's a very important institution, but they are under resourced to the extent say you depending on World Bank now very important Niema. I will say to me share a comprehensive analysis of about 16 entities. ECG Niema kwa so very effective. Yeah, share more objective, more operations, best practices. Niema very serious job. Yeah. You train World Bank no my brains can't see to me aye. It's be call me share Niema. Now since 2020, your state ownership reports. 2021, 2022. The state ownership report, you know, the one of the most important documents of our nation. Mima state ownership reports this year. And how now being companies,
enterprises,
no, how performance, ne, how more assets, how more equity, and negative. This I never knew. I say no. There's no way I met her. Now with the work am I here no. Now a state ownership way. In fact, say to me, yeah. State ownership report. August after the previous year, and no crime $2 million. Me who says we met now na aboye. Immediately. Now 2021, dear me train yeah. 2022, yeah. 2023 by July for the first time in the history of SIGA. Now you to me as we speak now no we are current. And nothing na John Mahama Akosombono they had something to speak about. Because they were able to speak about Cocobot. They were able to speak about VRA. They were able to speak about ECG. Senka Akufo-Addo buy no obere no account about ECG. Because there's no document. In fact, in the year 2016, no, 18 SOEs.
Okay.
And our state entities. And a presenting almost financial state. Out of 175.
And then no more carrying.
Accounts out of 18, no, 2 per and unpresented audited reports. 16, no. Management report on the call.
That means I got a Sika waste power.
Sika here too good wrong. Sika here too good. Ya take companies. I'm on call for an operation on Mobusia for. I'm telling you. A buying ending to me uncle. It is in such circumstance, no. I may be GP kakra. Sika be ni ho.
Pay no crack mama.
It be and I say no. And you feel I'm better America. Moment training and ye Jumano. You go almost so sad. Good to be so much Juma no year, 1 year. Even in an election year. Almost everybody, parliamentary select committee, will be I say, I had 2 years anchor. Nyama assistant. You understand? Nti manji me pay cry.
Are you not ready? When you're ready, so Beji.
No, at that time, yes, I be a menya bruso. But at that time, no, me between Yisika and fee, coffers. Because we needed the money to do most important things. To say state ownership report, annual report, then mama allowance here and all that. You understand? See, no baby, air corner.
Sounds for your selfless services.
Money baby, air corner. I'll say a shiny.
Okay.
Now, my dear, we should be clear. Constitutional bodies, you know. Wa obebano. Now don't call for Abba. Ukwa.
For
call. Obi for France.
Dear, to a baby in normal society. And watch my crap.
And we should understand this. We should. Now say I don't know.
Tama.
Who's only pay dealia? Also only dealing. And I'm catch say me. I know the DNA of the NDC. Omu say omu lusu na ko yi obi a na fe omo ye ko demonstration ye say dabi ye ntia ya say obi a ye fa ofiti de no nti ye fa wa who say o bo aban no ho ban because okwa
so beko
obi an ka hwe nkyerɛw
security driver
dabi onim say o wa ban ne ko ojo ma ma de ubai so kofi nti o don akoka no ho ni enhwe se eno be bo man o se ye ne sa e be du baabi no afi CSOs ne se afi no be mu aka se masa afi de ye nhwe kwan be fast but after time no dey abani aye no be say 12-16 years and so afi be tie reason from Injini se John Mahama ohoi with what he has done over the years, no. Or transe, ma the Hawks in NDC.
107.3.
I'm an eguni mase because he's the first president of this fourth republic. Our bar, we Chief Justice.
Okay.
When you say Chief Justice, Chief Justice or bar.
I'm very respect to Crown Mama.
Debbie. Into omu yeah, direct. Omu go easy. You know, omu go electoral commission for.
Wow, which channel baby you uncle?
I said don't get aka say. Until I say
107.3.
at the frontier easy for that's all. Omu go omu. Omu go bu omu kra. Yeah, if that's not what they want to do. But precedents are more set. Yenya jituma ndi CSO so mo nkasa o
asofofo ni nyedi
da asofo nyedi akonfo enyedi ahemfo mo nyedi
107.3
yenyina ya ti ase so se sa na afi ye kono ye be kono sa pe
Atumpan
kono sa pe
Uncle Jebi.
You see, and this a big to amamio. Omo attitude, no. Oh, dear. And you who cry. But also who cry a faswa. Yene omu dealing.
That's all no man would drew.
Oh, man would draw. Who says, I'm a yari and a cry, and you're chronic. And you're chronic cry. Na fe yon kona sa ntu MPP ni near for Juma ko ka na me allowance my nti go for bebre ya for bo Juma abra ye ho bebre kra anko to aba because I'm say me see you ohumi a onjia me
e be say o mo fa madua me sika ama
me fa me jia me sika ama ye me deputy director Nko minimum pa those type form cocoa board. And a friend is saying boy edu. Na fire na opuni wo no my allowance ma nti abanu kra me nkoto ene
nti ane so tifie no pe.
The next time no nyame boa say yesu ye bad dia ye de niam bebre baba create jobs bebre ni nya fa wadwuma ni mu wia na ahoche kakra ba waka say be nkoto aba because me bu efu nanado oko pension Die bufu no for so ben any enti constitutional bodies in the month forget to cry.
Okay. Agujabi, you better say finally me and you. Yeah, sorry.
The American question say party no ye doso wo Ghana ha MPP for doso wo Ghana ha. I say party bia Ghana House no even in the midst of the akoso nyina nyema na nado danko Akufo-Addo etumi year within 8 years no it will take NDC over 40 years.
And so be to my the same.
In terms of a choir, in terms of school, in terms of digitization, so and until the H say a rapid development a new Patriotic Party and he be to me
okay.
Na me jitu mpa say said the aye konen kakran kakri e be du ba bi no said ne ye nyina ye keka ye ho waka e di party de chi no me jiri say lessons so no mistakes aye no so no yesua sometimes no usua in the hard way say
yeah,
and also ebuapa
prepare very well
na next time no you kunya power unim say obi di CEO wo company bi mu for almost 8 years 2024 yeah around June ho baby na obi de ne bre me na op extension you introduce me man no oh share Mr. John Boadu or na former general secretary yeah Juma 2016 2014 they win elections now waba abe CEO no for 7 years I maybe 6 years as general secretary oh my me office crowder
oh people to there
107.3
so okoji post no baby me office un sida uni me ponti me dinda ena oti ho na se ame o se ne ho abasem kakra na se wo
okay
bo ho omo a uni omo yes ade no omo abedi wachi. This should not happen in our party. There's a lot of we are here.
Yes, if you are some so dear.
I can't be brave. It's better massive.
Yes, better say.
It say mo ye juma and
107.3
and easy. Mo ye aban over contract bi ama. Or ye na advert on fancy. I would be call wezo. Next time it doesn't matter whether hey you gabi dia and gabi dia. Where's a stand up with dia?
Yeah.
Omo ferry. Sisi presidential we omo ye no. Omo na omo logo eboso.
GTV crowd is it inform.
Ye na ekoye na nka asase radio. Ebo President Akufo-Addo ni den chikra nka ibenya asem. We are only taking lessons. We are taking notes
Atumpan
of how well not to govern, and we are learning from them. Intimate sermon, and easy, sir.
Yeah,
and easy. A castle so that more can mutual control be our bebaha. The once in a while, Baba Chimo, Japa. Ya probably visit him. So, to Munsha Musapo Musio.
I drink us here.
Munsha Musapo Musio. If we do, I have a chill now invite you. Oh, quas, be sink a cra. Now they are sure. Only the be sent a was on for so.
Atumpan.
There be this or catch it.
Who's that Titino? Maybe I and I know to quine and a woman baby on the next food. Since so we are 3 days around the day cry. Sustain more qua. Not be sick a cry.
And it be a bad what this said. It's
once in the while fire.
MPP for so that say, and you're from a brefi bill.
Mate.
Brefi.
Mate.
ɛyɛ kasa bebu o
mate
ɛnyɛ ha o brɛfie
mate mo pa ebonti yebedi odwuma
medase.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.